1, 2, 3, yeah. Shia says, have you heard what Shia says? Whether she's sitting down by herself or with her friends, that's what Shia says. Shia says, have you heard my jingle?
Yeah, I love it.
Have you heard what Shia says? Hey, whether she's sitting down by herself or with her friends, that's what Shia says. Let's give me the
I can't believe I'm seeing this
I
happen in
love
real time.
Hello, my sweet, sweet succulent. Welcome back to another episode of Sayo Says. I am your host, Shia. If you are new here, hello, welcome, join us. This is where the fun resides, okay? This is where the fun resides. I am joined here today. It's another very special guest episode, and I am actually salivating at the mouth at how, you can't even, no, honestly, like I'm actually salivating. Oh,
cut the cameras.
Oh, damn. You see what you do to me? You see what you do? It's another very special guest episode today. We have Sunday Times #1 best-selling author of What a Time to Be Alone. She is a TED talker. I love the TED talk, by the way. She's a TED talker, founder of the viral social movement Saggy Boobs Matter and Block Him Party, right?
Okay.
Oh, yeah. And she is the host of the Slumflower Hour podcast. I am joined here by none other than the Slumflower. Chidera, oh my gosh.
There we go.
I am so excited to have you on.
I'm excited to be
How
here.
are you?
I'm feeling so good.
Yeah?
It's currently 29 degrees.
No, it's boiling. Like it's actually
But
boiling.
I think us being in this room has taken it to 35 degrees.
40.
But we're Nigerian, so we can manage.
No, honestly, there was, oh my gosh, you know what? Speaking of being Nigerian, the other day I was in the gym, yeah?
Okay.
I was in the gym.
Oh.
Yeah. I was in the gym and I was in a rush because I'm always late. I'm always rushing. I was in a rush. I grabbed what I thought was dried mangoes.
Uh-oh. What were you? Uh-oh.
No, because I like to snack between sets, between sets and
So what
just
did you
resting.
grab?
I get to the gym. I go into my gym bag. I reach in to go and snack on my dry mango. Sister, why did I turn around and see kilishi?
Not cliche.
Sister, there's a picture.
That
I
is-
saw I said,
So
Because the-
Nigerian of you. Where did you even source kilishi in this barren land that we call London?
a friend of mine.
They did bring it for you from-
Yeah, a friend of
You're
mine.
such an auntie.
You know, I'm actually an
You're
auntie.
procuring packages.
The thing is, I have been an auntie from when I was around 5.
I'm serving
I love
auntie.
it. You really are, but it's cunty. It's like a
Do you
mix
understand?
between-
It's don't look at my breast,
No,
don't look at
'cause
my
it's
bum, but you can still kind of
sexy,
see
but
through the
it's
fabric.
mature. Do you know what I
Understand?
mean? Oh my god! I'm so excited to get into this conversation with you because, guys, brace yourselves.
Thank you for asking.
Brace yourselves. How have you been? What has been on your mind? There's been so much going on. Tell us.
I've been so well. I've been
love
doing
that for you.
amazing. I have done things that I've only dreamed of doing, including selling out 3 live shows in Central London,
Oh,
Leicester
I love
Square
that.
Theatre, 400 capacity per show. Selling
So
it out by myself.
for those who do not know, Chidera, honey, would you like to tell us what your show is that you sold out? Your 3 times sold out show.
I have a show called Patriarchy's Worst Nightmare. And this is a live show, a one-woman live show. And how I like to describe it is where a TEDx talk meets stand-up comedy meets burlesque.
Oh, I love that. Oh, sexy.
Yeah. So I call it Patriarchy's Worst Nightmare because
How did you land that on that name? I feel
because
like
a lot of men hate me.
Okay.
And I represent their worst fear, which is not just a woman who knows her worth and is bold enough to act on it, but dares to encourage other women to think and act the same. So me existing in the way that I do will result in more men having less access to pussy, essentially. So I'm a threat to the patriarchy because the patriarchy fuels itself on pussy. So Patriarchy's Worst Nightmare is the name of the live show. I just love it as a concept, as a title. So how the live show works is that it's me the whole time, essentially giving women a talk to radicalize them into loving themselves harder and being more selfish in relation to men. But there are so many comedic infusions in the show, and I end the show with a burlesque performance because I also do burlesque. And what I love about having this one-woman show is that because I'm so sure of my concept and what I want to do, it's all directed by me. It's
Amazing.
all, like, I know exactly how I want everything to be. And it works out well each time. Sometimes for the shows, I bring a submissive man on stage for like 15 minutes to just, kiss my feet while I'm cussing men out. Idiots, look down. And I just find it funny because it's a little like fun shock factor for some of the women that have never seen that before.
Yeah,
but it's a very powerful image to see a woman in a ostrich. Do you understand? Commanding this leashed man.
Whilst being very, like
feminine.
Sexy,
and like bold. And I represent all of those themes of women who are untamable,
disagreeable,
dislikable, but attractive, feminine. Like I'm a collision of concepts that people can't really grasp their head around, and that's why a lot of people don't understand me. And I think a lot of people, they meet me and they feel guilty for realizing I'm actually funny, a nice person. I'm not just a set of tweets you disagree with.
No,
like a lot of people, their understanding or perception of me is frozen
very
in time from like a
2016,
2017.
Yeah.
And I feel sorry for those people because they're missing out, one. Two, I think that their perception of me is in relation to their perception of what they believe they can do, what they're capable of, what they can achieve, what they're worthy of. Yeah, because I speak a lot in my work about women raising their self-esteem and making different decisions to reflect those new values. And I think that makes a lot of women uncomfortable because what I'm saying sounds unrealistic. But what I've always made clear is that nothing I speak about in my work in terms of my expectations of men or how I think the world should be for women who are around men, nothing I'm saying is coming from anything that isn't real. Everything I say comes from what I've seen. So I have seen the women who have gotten the property and land in their name. I have seen the women who have made sure that if they are going to be around men, it's benefiting them materially and financially. So if it exists for somebody else, it can exist for me too. I want that too. I'm not going to just go for what's in front of me. And I think for a lot of people, that's why they are quite confused by me as a concept because they can't tell if I'm just some man hater who just comes online to just say bad things about men because I want to say bad things, or if I'm someone who's actually doing heavy critical work that only a certain type of person can do. Like the kind of work I do, I know that it's not something everyone can do, which is why I stand much more stubborn in this gift, because I know that the ability to communicate these thoughts and to connect with such a vast age range of women who have all experienced the same iteration of the thing that I speak on, and to be able to do it in a way that reaches people without the academic jargon, without the
alienating language.
Language, and without the mirage of celebrity to kind of like distance myself from my audience as like, I'm up here above and you're down there, my little fans. Like I never see people in that way. I never see my audience in that way. And I don't see the work I'm doing as...
You're still Chidera from the block.
Period. Born and raised in Peckham, darling.
Chidera from the block. Used to have a little, now I have a lot. Now where I go, I know where I came from. All right, harmony.
You see that? You see what we did there?
I love that. So you mentioned about people feeling sorry for people who whose perception of you is kind of frozen in time and is founded on tweets from like 2017, 2018, 2019, etc. I want to go to some of the quotes that we're talking about, some of the
let's go. Period. She said,
I want to go
section
to
3.
No, literally.
Line
And 42. We got it here. So, at 12:16
Not the
p.m.
timestamp. Oh my God. Where were you?
At 12:16 p.m. on the 17th of June, 2018. You said, and I quote, tweeted, "The only solution to ensure the safety of women..."
Go for it.
"is for men to not exist." Now, Slum.
Yes, Your Honor.
What did you mean by that?
So...
Because you faced some backlash for that. I
did.
remember.
Yeah. That was an
era. Is that something that you still...
Oh, that's something I triple stand on. In fact, I say this
cool,
every other day now, but it doesn't get backlash because
Yeah.
we've now fast forwarded to the part of the timeline where people have caught
up
on to like, oh, men are actually bad.
Oh no, they're
because back in 2018, people were still
giving men the benefit of the doubt.
for sure, more benefits than doubt, I would
Mm-hmm.
say. And I think the fact that I said something so brazen and so apathetic to men, really caused a lot of uproar because in me saying that women would be safer if men didn't exist, part of what's implied in what I've said is that men should all disappear.
Yeah.
But I think that what's interesting about the backlash to that statement is people genuinely believed that I have this big, fancy, shiny red button that I could press.
Yeah.
And then once I press it, all the men will cease to exist and then all the women will be safe, according to my supervillain fantasies.
Yep.
I don't have that button. I just have the send tweet button.
Twitter, yeah.
But I think that back then there was a lot of backlash surrounding me and the things I say because we were not in a time and position in whether it's social justice or hyper awareness of just how bad men are. We were still in the very like mustard seed size stage of
can
that.
Change him. He's they can't all be
We
bad.
need to try
It's
and
not-
be in community
it's not
with everyone.
all, man.
So there I come out of the woodworks being like, actually, men should fuck off. And if they're killing women, they should die.
Yeah.
And people were like, whoa, that's too far.
Murderer. No, honestly. And the thing is, I think that when I think when I saw this tweet of yours, I was like, I mean, well, yeah, it's true that women.
No, but
would
that's
be
not even the
safer.
bad one, you know. The one
what's
that really... Have you written that one?
No,
The one that really caused...
Which one? Is it here?
No, this one is all vanilla.
Okay. Oh, this
Let
is
me
all-
tell you the
this
one
is
that
all- no,
really
okay,
caused...
cool, go
this one,
ahead.
I even ended up
We'll see
losing...
if I can find it.
I don't even know. It's probably there because people took screenshots.
Yeah.
I lost a 6-figure job from this. So this was during the England World Cup. I believe this was 2019 now. England World Cup, there was an article from The Independent that released some statistics saying that during the England World Cup matches, domestic violence stats increased by 41%.
Which is...
Meaning, for those who are not aware of the context, when England football team are playing football, whether they win or lose, especially when they lose, the men go home and beat their wives.
People are so... We're also socialized to not identify the danger that men like that can pose.
Yeah, and also we don't see women as full people. So
No, 100%.
in response to that article, I quote tweeted and I said men should be euthanized. Everyone was like, okay, look, I can accept men killing women and beating them, but I draw the line at you saying men should die. Again, they believed that I had this big, shiny, glossy red button that I can just press and then all the men would die from me saying that men should be euthanized. A lot of people with pushback saying that this is an abhorrent thing to say, you wishing death on men. Men have mental health issues and they could see that and that would be really damaging. Let it damage them. But also, no men actually died from that post that I made. But, when men want women to die from misogyny, women die from misogyny.
It just happens. And I think what it is what I hate is the false equivocation and the conflation of when women are speaking about these things, maybe not even as direct and as blunt and as apathetic as you were. They try to conflate it and be like, oh, that's just as bad. Someone tweeting men should be euthanized is nowhere near as bad as femicide. Like femicide is a thing. And so when they try to
we don't even have menicide because it doesn't exist.
There's no such thing. There is no such thing. There is no such thing. And so when people act like you responding and speaking on something like this is akin to you
acting
it out. It's another way to victim blame. It's another way to suppress women's rightful response to self-preservation. I think maybe it's because we're so sympathetic towards women
But also, we're using our brains.
We're using our brains.
We just need to use
We're
our
actually
brain.
just using our brains. We're just using our brains. And I think it doesn't help when you have people who are who react more to you saying things like, oh, men should be euthanized in the context of,
I was responding to an article about domestic violence.
You were responding to an article about domestic violence.
No one was responding to what I was responding to.
And so they act like the response and retaliation is worse than the actual act of violence. How did we get here?
I mean, we've always been here, though.
Always.
And I think that's why I was public enemy for a long time. And so for a lot of people who don't have the intellectual bandwidth to really sit with the points that I make, all they see is that she says bad things. She says inflammatory things. I don't want to listen to someone who thinks men should die. What about my little brother?
No, because some people's brothers are terrible terrible people.
So every woman I know has some sort of interaction with sexual assault, whether it's rape or something of that ilk, but no man knows a rapist.
Yeah.
He might be in a friend group of men who are harassing other women, and he will be quiet and he won't call them out. Your brother will be an active participant in patriarchy. It might not be as violent as some of the other men, but he will be a benefactor and he will partake and he will still behave like a man. Because somehow every single woman is like, well, not my brother, not my son, not my husband. But we're still living in a world where the biggest threat to a woman's life is a man. So,
and not even just a man, often men they're related to.
Yes, they do say that the most unsafe place for a woman is actually the home that she's in with her husband.
Which I think a lot of the pushback that you have gotten over the years has been coming from a place where people are in denial of just how bad the state of gender relations, etc. is. People don't want to actually accept that, because it's a disgusting thing to actually have to come to terms with and truly tackle the way that it needs to be tackled. It is very difficult to actually conceptualize and conceive of just how many men that we see on a regular basis, on a daily basis, that we're related to are dangerous and have not just the potential to be dangerous, but genuinely are dangerous. Because when we engage with people, our relationship with them is not the only thing that we should go by. That's why when abuse victims, survivors come forward and say, this person abused me, and you have other women who have internalized misogyny.
He was nice to me.
Yeah, he was nice to me. Well, he was always good to me. You have a different relationship. And it's not in his interest to abuse you yet. Or in a way that they abused that one person. They might be abusing you emotionally. And in the fact that they are even calling on your relationship with them is a form, as a way to invalidate the experience of their victims, is a form of emotional blackmail.
Well, that's why my work gets a lot of pushback, because by design, the backlash is intended to invalidate me by saying that I'm just an angry man hater.
And you're being,
because
dramatic and
I repeat the same. I keep on talking about the same thing, and the reason why I'm hell bent on continuously talking about this same thing is because
they didn't hear you the first time.
They clearly not. They didn't hear me the 400th time, and also it's a matter of emergency.
Yeah,
I see my work as the equivalent of alerting people, fire, the building is burning. And a lot of the women in that building are like, yeah, but can't really smell any smoke in my room. I can hear the fire alarm ringing from 2 doors down, but I'm sure fire brigade will handle it. They don't want to leave.
It's
and that metaphor represents, well, my boyfriend isn't that bad. Or I don't think it's every man. There are some women I meet, in fact it's most women, they are extremely optimistic and very hopeful. And I always find that women who are optimistic and hopeful about men are very stupid. And the reason why I say that is because, first of all, optimism implies that you believe things are going to change. The fact that you haven't clocked on that this is not going to change is extremely worrying. But it's very, very unsettling to accept that men are not going to change. Because if you accept deep down that men are actually never going to change fundamentally, then that means that you're going to have to make adjustments to your perspective and how you move around men and what you actually require of them. Now, I'm already at that stage. I'm at the stage where I've made my peace and I've made my acceptance with men for who they are and what they are. And so I've questioned my own beliefs around my attraction to them. What is that based on then? Because if I know that men are always going to be how they are, if I know that India's pretty much always going to be the most unsafe place for a woman to exist, that's not going to change from feminism. That's not going to change from us writing posts online. That's not going to change. So because I've made my peace with that and I've learnt to accept that men are always going to be as they are, then what am I going to be doing to make sure that the men I'm around are benefiting me? What am I going to be doing to make sure that this is worth it for me? Because I could still die being around these men. So why am I here then? Now, when I start to have those conversations, that brings a lot of discomfort to women because what they want in their hope and their optimism is to meet a man who is just going to be a woman, basically. They want a wife, but they don't want to be with a woman. All the traits they describe in a husband that they want is just like a normal wife.
There's that thing going around where it goes along the lines of the you finish it.
Yeah, so a high value man is just an average woman.
Average woman,
which is true.
It's very true, and it's literally because of the way we are socialized. Men from little boys are socialized in a way that they are not corrected, is written off as boys being boys. It's written off as playful. It's written off as the girl's responsibility to react in a way that doesn't make the boy feel bad for whatever it is they are doing. And the fact that women are socialized to just kind of be incubators of male incompetence, male rage, male insecurities and all these things, it's terrible. And so there's that. Women are often young girls and women are often put on a higher moral level of behavior. The expectations are more because society knows that girls are raised to be more accountable, more responsible, which is ironic because people love saying that women don't like accountability. And there was a piece that I did, a poem that I did talking about accountability, satirizing the whole idea around how women don't like taking accountability. And it's bullshit because women, like, victim blaming. Like, what do you mean? Even when women aren't accountable, they're being held accountable. And so all these different projections of, a stubborn, disagreeable woman, a feminist, is going to die alone with all these cats. Statistically, men are the ones that die alone.
Also, I'm allergic to cats. So I might actually die alone for real. No, I'm joking. But I think women who are not obsessed with being desired and women who are comfortable with being disliked and comfortable being alone are a serious threat.
Yeah.
And that's why people have tried extremely hard over the years to try and
humble you.
Humble me, pay me under everything under the sun. I've seen women do it. I've seen men do it. I've seen it happen where some of these women, they forgot that I remember them being weird and shady. And now they've done a full, they've done a 180 and something has changed in their life and they've realized. And I see them and I don't say anything to them. I don't pull them up on it because it's like, well, yeah, you've realized now, haven't you? Because what I've found with my work is that a lot of things I say, if you haven't had an experience or if you don't know anybody that's gone through that, or if you haven't educated yourself on just how bad men are, it sounds extremely inflammatory.
Yes. Yeah.
Until you go through something and now what I'm saying here, you hear it different and then you're like, okay. Because for me, a lot of people, they want to ask me, what is this terrible thing that a man must have done to me? There must have been something that's caused this.
They always think that it's like, who hurt you?
Yeah, they think that, but it's like compared to the system that I've heard, the same
system that hurts you, babe.
Yeah, and also Shia, like compared to because of the work I do and the nature of the audience I have, a lot of my audience, they message me all sorts of things that they're going through, and I anonymously share it on my stories and I discuss it, and it becomes a thing, and I get a lot of traction on my stories of women reading these things and like sharing it along with each other. So I'm exposed to a lot. I have had a very relatively easy and sheltered experience with men compared to the things I've heard. Yeah. And men have given me a hard time. But I've heard cases. There was a woman that recently told me a week ago that her man sells her nudes in prison.
What?
With nudes that weren't even taken with her consent. I've heard things like a man who...
Put that man under the jail. I rationalize violence against violent men.
Yeah, oppressed people have a right to violence.
Because
I believe in retaliation.
And honestly, I think my working hypothesis is that we haven't even truly begun to... We haven't even begun to actually understand or even unpack the impact that chattel slavery, colonization, etc., and the emancipation and all of that has had on our perception and society's handling of oppressed people and our ideas of like self-defense. They criminalize it so much and it's because the legacy of colonization and slavery, etc., when the enslaved Africans when they won their freedom, because I'm not even going to say when they were freed, because it was not willing, it was not...
People died.
No, literally. They were promised reparations. They were entitled to reparations. They could not do that because then that would be them admitting to what they did being an absolute wrong, and it would set the precedence for how people in those kind of situations, in those oppressed people, react and the justice that they are entitled to. And so because they did not entitle enslaved peoples to the kind of justice that they were entitled, it bled into society, and it's kind of trickled down all the way through so many different ways. And so that's how we get to where we are now, where people that's why self-defense is so criminalized. In the UK, you are more likely to go to jail or be charged for defending yourself against your abuser.
Yeah, even if the abuser breaks into your home. Like, if you was to be filming him, they can actually now, you'd be criminalized for filming him without
his consent.
Even though he broke into your home.
Without you.
So that's why for me, and this is why I appreciate what you said about reparations and retaliation. My politic comes from a radical framework.
Yeah.
I do believe in oppressed people having a right to violence. Mm-hmm. I do believe in oppressed people holding resentment towards their oppressor. I do believe that it should be okay for women to hate men. Mm-hmm. I'm not saying every woman should hate men. Mm-hmm. What I'm saying is it should be okay for women who hate men to hate men, because men hate women, and we see that reflected in the policies that our government says yes to. Mm-hmm. We see that in a world where you can't go out in this outfit at 11 p.m. without expecting to be catcalled or to possibly never come back home again. We
Crime statistics.
Yeah, I mean, men are marrying children. Oh. So for me, it's like, if there's a woman that I come across and she says, I hate men, I'm like, I validate and I support that.
No, because I will never be the kind of babe to be like, oh, wow, wow, why would you? Oh,
but there are good men. No, but there are good men. But what about your brother? I don't know, babe. Like, why did you ask me about my brother? Like, listen, when I say I hate men, two things can be true at once, right? Like, I love my brother and I hate men. If that confuses you, you're going to have to sit with it. Because you know what? Men claim to love their sisters, but they also hate women. Yeah. They're still misogynist. You know, there are... Wait till you hear about the Telegram group. You heard about that? The Telegram group there's about 70,000 men in there. Yeah. And they're sharing nudes of, like, their family members. Yeah. Men making AI-generated porn of their family members who are women. Yes.
So I saw that the guy, he was arrested, and he said that all of the... requests to turn the images of little girls were coming from their fathers, their brothers, their uncles. And so when we are faced with this, it's because we live in a society that can quite literally look at evidence and still say no.
Yeah, that's as if
it's optional to believe the truth. Believing the truth is optional.
That's because believing women is optional. Yeah. It's not about the truth, it's about who's telling that truth. Mm-hmm. It stops being truth when it's a woman. Yeah. And also, I think as well that people find discomfort with women who are pointing out the thing for what it is.
Yeah.
And I also think that women don't hate men enough. They just say I hate men because I hate
the
misogyny.
sentiment is never followed up with the kind of
violence.
action and violence that like men hating women.
So for me, why my position is very radical is because I'm in the minorities, but people act like I'm in the majority. People act like if I carry on existing as I am, everyone will think like me.
Yeah.
Which is cute. Thank you for believing in me.
Like, oh.
Thank you. Like, you're really getting me there. Like, that's what's helping me to do more and more of this, because slowly more and more women are starting to understand. But at the same time, my work isn't coming from this place of galvanizing women into acting physically on their violence towards men. I'd rather you just take his money and go. Like, just make him pay you money. I always tell women, never accept a verbal apology from a man who you were romantically involved with. You have to make sure he says sorry in a sizable amount of cash that satisfies you, that is relative to the offense, that's relative to his pockets. It has to feel like enough of a sacrifice from his pockets. So what's £200 to one man is the equivalent of £2,000 to another man. So make sure you're charging accordingly, and make sure after you've accepted that apology, you keep him on his toes and you reassert your position as the captain. So I lean into a lot of those dominatrix tendencies when encouraging women to like, boss these men about. Like, don't let these men run you. All women are celebrities. That's how I see it. Because the way that men act when they see women, it's almost like when you see a celebrity, like you just want to be magnetized towards them. They have something that you could never recreate by yourself. There's this awe and wonder and like a glow around them. And that's what women have. That's why men are addicts for pussy. Whatever they get from pussy is what they want from us. They love pussy more than they love women. When I talk about these things, it sounds extremely negative. And it's like, well, why can't you say some nice things about the nice men to balance it out? Well, I don't feel like we should balance it out.
It's a non-issue.
We should focus on this pressing matter.
A non-issue, yeah.
Yeah, and no, we're not going to focus on the nice men. We're going to focus on the violence, because the violence should be 0%, not 1%, not 15% from 40 down to 15. It should be 0. And until we get to that place, I will continue speaking about men in the bad light. If you guys want to be positive about men, you can do that. That's not making any change, though. For me, I feel like change is happening when we start to make women more...
When we broaden our...
We have to make them aware of what's going on. Yeah. Like, the boogeyman is not under your bed. He's on the train in front of you. He's in...
He's in it. So it's not like there's just one way for... There's not just one way for male violence in heteronormative relationship dynamics, etc., to be expressed. When you sit in the discomfort of realizing that a lot of women, a lot more married women are experiencing this, so much so that it had to be put in law. Like, it was marital rape was so bad, it had to be put in law.
The fact that it even has a name.
Pedophilia is so bad, we had to put laws in place to stop these men from assaulting children. That in itself should show you just how malevolent these people are.
No, but you gotta give the benefit of doubt. Not all men. Shayo, not all men. Maybe it's just you. Maybe it's the men you know.
It's so it's such a discomforting thing, because it's like, it's uncomfortable because in that knowledge that comes responsibility. With new knowledge comes responsibility, the responsibility of change, responsibility of changing, of growth, of the responsibility of change, the responsibility of growth and adapting. The way my brain, the way I see the world has changed and expanded so much that now I see things exactly for what it is and not for what I want it to be. And I think a lot of the pushback that you get, and that's not even to say that that we're always going to agree about everything with everyone. Like, that's not the case. But I think it's about when people are hearing you speak, when they don't have the conversational bandwidth and the discernment to understand that if it don't apply, let it fly. When you're talking about men being violent and men blah, 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 it's not all men. That doesn't need to be said. That doesn't need to be said. You should understand. You should understand.
One is more than enough. It doesn't have to be all of them.
And I think it's just that chronic need, that it's kind of like a reflex that people have to minimize the true scale of the problem.
Yeah, because people don't want to be seen liking something that's bad, right? So if we tell ourselves that it's not all men and like we are nice people, so we're going to get good men, and like we are pretty girls, so we're going to get good men.
Oh, it could never be me, sister.
Yeah, like I think that's the problem with how patriarchy is designed. It puts women in a position where we think that there are certain factors that we can put in place to avoid ourselves being harmed by men.
Yeah.
There is no way to get around it. We just have to talk about it and name it what it is.
It's not about
you can't pretty your way out of patriarchy.
Literally, it's not about how beautiful you are. It's not about how modestly you dress or how skimpily you dress.
It's not about how old you are.
It's not about how old you are. There was a documentary that I saw on BBC Africa about Kenyan grandmothers taking self-defense classes because they were being raped. 90-plus-year-old women being raped. They couldn't, even in age, even in like the later stages of their life,
the age where they say women are expired, mind you. I thought we were meant to be expired.
There's age they said women aren't desirable. Women are no longer sexual.
But we're rapeable though. And notice how it's only women having to take self-defense classes. I'm not hearing men need to take self-defense classes from women raping them.
And so I think it's that false equivocation of that makes everything just, all the rebuttals, etc., just so disingenuous.
Yeah, that's why the conversation goes nowhere. And that's why I'm not looking
people are being disingenuous, intellectually dishonest about the power imbalance.
Because they like man. That's what it is. Like, they're too horny to take a stand.
Too much. And I think that's what it is.
Too much.
That's what it is.
It's self-control.
Like male-identified women who have, varying levels of internalized misogyny. We've all been there when we were younger. Maybe that's how we're socialized. It's inevitable in this world. It is literally inevitable. But there gets a point where you grow up and you put away childish things and you realize that, okay, no, this is not the right way to be, because my understanding of this, my victim blaming, my, wanting to give men the benefit of the doubt, blah, blah, even when you don't realize or recognize it as that, is harmful.
Because they want to participate in this thing that everyone says is
the
so highly coveted,
and the desirability of everything. Yeah,
they just want to be
my man. If I ever start bragging about a man,
that's a distress signal because you've been
just
kidnapped. Because people want to preserve the fantasy.
Yeah, it's very much
critical
a fantasy.
Thinking interferes with the fantasy. A lot of women don't want to think critically. They just want to believe that despite the facts being that men are a net negative, they're somehow going to have a positive experience because they prayed and because they're pretty.
And I think even in cases where, there are, even in cases of healthy relationships where people are, they're in love, it's a healthy relationship, it's a good relationship, they're being, treated well, they're being looked after, which is gorgeous. We want that for everyone. We want that for everyone. But that's not the case.
Also, what we call a healthy relationship is just a normal relationship.
Literally. Even in those instances, when a woman in that relationship decides that, okay, I want to be a mother, I want to partake in motherhood, I want to have a baby, the disparity and the impact of that in this system, because the system is set up to quite literally undermine women's growth, especially mothers. The way mothers are not supported under this current system of patriarchal violence and capitalistic gain is disgusting. When a woman gets pregnant and she wants to, and she takes time off, babes, your pension.
Girl, this is why...
your pension is automatically affected. Whilst you are staying at home, your partner is at work. in those dynamics where you know, because obviously people go, oh yeah, but it's not all men who say blah blah blah.
Yeah, there's some men that stay at home and their wife is out working and pregnant.
You know, but there is so much nuance in those situations, and even in those healthy relationships where, you know, the women feel supported and blah blah blah, there is still the inevitable consequences and lack of support and lack of infrastructure that actually make it equitable, that make it that protect them from the inevitable fact that this decision, by virtue of you just being a woman in this system, is going to undermine you. There was a video that I saw of this head teacher. She was striving in her career. She made deputy head at, I think, like 24 or something. She did everything. She did good. She had her babies, and she literally said that no matter how prepared you think you are, she thought she was so prepared. She thought that, yeah, like I can mitigate against the impact of being a mother in this system. And she said that it has impacted her career and has put her back by years. And that's with all of the preparation, that's with all of the support of her partner. And so it's not just about, you know, wanting things to be better. Let's face the reality of the fact that things are terrible for much more people, for many more people than women, than it should be. Why is it so difficult for people to just come to terms with the fact that the system and these environments in the society is quite literally at every step going to make it more difficult for you to just exist and to actually be happy? Even in your happy relationships, there are so many other forces that are making it even more difficult.
Yeah, because people see the fantasy, they don't see the logistics. It's like, that's why, which we'll probably talk about soon, like when I went on Zizi's podcast and I was speaking about my views on marriage, like, it's all about
it now, actually, because I literally was about to figure, let's
it's all about destroying the fantasy.
You were on Zizi Mills's show and you proposed this idea in this statement. You made a very bold and daring statement, and you said that marriage is sex work, is akin to sex work. You got a lot of backlash for that.
And this is going to be very controversial to say. Marriage also is sex work, because a lot of women, what they're doing is women engage in marriage from a place where, okay, he's going to take care of you financially, and there's a home for you both to live in. What you are doing is you're fulfilling a role. So you're going to either be some sort of like homemaker, homekeeper, you're raising and rearing the kids. You are partnering with him and sleeping with him in the hopes that the trade-off will be that you get validation, love, and upkeep. And the man understands and believes that if he continues to fulfill that role for you, then the arrangement works, because marriage is an arrangement. Now, why I say it's prostitution is because whilst it's not necessarily on the surface, you're fucking for a transactional exchange, there's something that you're fucking for.
And I will hold my hand up. When I first saw that clip, even though my initial response was like, yeah, I see how this can be true. I didn't take it as a statement of absolute, and I don't think you intended it as a statement of absolute. The fantasy that marriage is more respectable, or marriage allows more respectability.
That's true, because it does.
Yes, because
if you're
a
missus.
Does. Yes, but that does not
protect you.
Does not protect. And the more we have women, married women, or formerly, like divorced women, talking about the realities of their relationship, the lack of support that they were getting, the transactionality, just how transactional things were having to be. There have been videos of women talking about, if I want my man to do something,
I have
sex.
to give him sex.
Yeah.
Sex. If I want him to clean the kitchen.
Let's not remove their autonomy and the fact that they say it like that, but they also enjoy the sex. Let's not remove the fact that they enjoy the sex, but they're doing the sex for a reason. Yes. So I'd really love for you to expand on that, and for us to have that conversation about it.
I think what made people uncomfortable about this idea of marriage and sex work being linked, and me saying that marriage is actually the lowest paid form of sex work, it really disturbed people because it's the idea of likening something as holy and sacred and achievement filled to something as shameful and dirty and not like me as sex work. What's interesting about how the two are linked is when we think about what women are saying that they're doing in their marriages, a lot of women are saying things like, well, my duty, and they use the word duty, and that's specific language. My duty.
That is very much soaked in religiosity as well.
Well, yeah, and also patriarchal expectation of the bargain that the man is getting for marrying this woman.
Yeah.
My duty as a wife is to fulfill my husband's sexual pleasure, and his duty as my husband is to provide. Ideally, that's the setup. So there's a trade-off here, and there is a transaction. And that transaction is on your part sexual, on your husband's part financial. There are women in marriages who are sleeping with their husband because they need the kids' school uniform for the new term to be bought. And they know that if they do that thing with their tongue that their husband likes, that the school uniform is going to be bought.
Licky, licky.
Licky, licky.
Licky, licky.
Soggy, soggy. Or there are women who they're sleeping with their husbands so that they can just have peace in the household because what they want out of the sex is for their husband to desire them and to spend quality time with them. What confuses people about it is they see sex work as a woman in a micro mini skirt standing on the roadside, waving down cars, sticking her head in a driver's seat window, hanging her cleavage in his face and offering him sexual services for £60. That's what they're seeing. So they're like, well, that's not what I'm doing in my marriage. Like, I'm a kept woman. What they don't understand is that you're using bartering as a device to have your needs met. And sex is what that man married you for. It sounds really bad to say that because the argument, which is not a bad argument, the argument would be, but my husband loves me. This is the thing. A man can love you and still value having sex with you. And also, we can't take a man loving us as a measurement for whether this is going to be a good idea to marry him or not, because it's about what that man loves you for. Men can love you for being stupid and cheap and accessible. Men can love you for reminding them of their mom. Men can love you for fanning their flame and being...
Stroking their egos.
Yeah. So a man loving you is not a good enough reason to marry him. I'd go as far as arguing that a woman being in love with a man is not a good enough reason to marry him. And that sounds absolutely ridiculous. But what I mean by that is, if I think about what it means to be in love with a man from the mindset of the average woman, not a woman who thinks like me and is like observing and analysing everything, but like the average woman who is optimistic and hopeful about men. If she marries the man that she loves, she's more times than not overlooking a lot of things that she's uncomfortable about, but she's optimistic that when she marries him, that will change.
Than he's having to, So when the initial conversation was had on ZZ's show, the some of the criticisms were it was reductive, bless you,
understandable. Thank you.
Is that it was reductive, and I think that was because they were taken as a statement of absolute.
I think it was reductive, one, because ZZ didn't probe me more on the topic. We kind of had that brief conversation about it and we segued into something else. So what was available of the clip is what was there. And I think that when people take it at face value, of course, they're going to, again, when they think about sex work, they think about people in situations where they're being trafficked, or they think about, which is not sex work, by the way, trafficking and sex work aren't the same thing. Or they think about situations...
I want to go back to that,
We'll revisit that. Or they think about situations where a mother of 5 who is poor and has to feed her kids, so she does full service sex work where she's sleeping with men who she's repulsed by, and she's lying flat on her back in missionary, and as this hideous dirty man is pumping himself inside her. There's a singular streak of teardrop running down the side of her face. That's what they see as sex work. They don't think that a woman entering marriage and using sex as a way to have her needs met is sex work. Sex work essentially is using your sexuality to get what you want. For a lot of people, what they get out of it is money, of course, because that's a resource that people want. Some people do jobs for it. Some people have sex for it. But when women are like, yeah, but I don't sleep with a man for money, I just want him to be around. So you're sleeping with him for love. It's like the whole thing of like, there's that tweet of, ew, you're fucking the weed man for weed. And it's like, but you're fucking the text man for text. So it's like, okay, you're fucking your husband because you know that this sexual favor will result in you being closer. Babe, you are working in your marriage. And if we're going to acknowledge it for what it is, then sex workers are better off than you because they don't have to do all of the labor and all the tidying up and all of the overexertion of oneself just to be in conjunction with a man. At least with sex workers, they get their money. They use their money to build their own futures. They have their own partners that they've chosen. They live their life completely on their terms. But I'm happy to revisit the topic of sex work and trafficking because people conflate the two. And I think people have a very myopic understanding and view of sex work.
Yeah, I think a lot of the problems with the way people engage with your work and the statements that you make, etc., comes down to the fact that their lack of understanding of the nuance of the topic that you're talking about, but also symbolism. People love symbolism. People hold onto the symbolistic imagery that we are pushed. It's similar to what you said about the respectability of a ring making the some parts of some marriages and the transactionality of marriages. It kind of like it sanitizes the sex work element of it, and it sanitizes the transactionality, the physical transaction for whether it's emotional availability from the man or financial.
Like Janet Jackson. Do you know about that?
No, what happened?
So Janet Jackson I guess the times have come to an end now. She had what we would call an arrangement with a man who she had his baby.
Okay.
I don't know if you remember when Janet Jackson had a baby.
Had a baby.
Yeah. And it later came out that there was an agreement made that for the first 2 years of her being married to him, there's a multi-million upfront payment that she'll receive from him. And then if she was to extend it to stay 5 years, here's the X amount of millions she'll get from him. And I'm sure there was also a figure for the child. Yeah, like that's an arrangement. And that same...
They divorced? Were they married?
Yeah, they divorced. That was all within their agreement. It was all within their arrangement.
Cool. All right.
That same framework of arrangement also exists in sex work as well. But because she's in a marriage, the idea of marriage, the ring, the legality, and the, I guess, religious connotation attached to marriage now takes the sex work out of it and makes it respectable. But Janet Jackson is not doing anything any different to what a sex worker would do, which is negotiating a value exchange. And every woman has the right to negotiate a value exchange, and there is always a value exchange. Whether you negotiate or not, there is a value being exchanged. And I think that that's why this discussion of sex work and marriage is deeply unsettling for people, because even the phrase work in sex work, right, it's still work. Now, when we think about marriage, we don't think about work. We think about being loved.
I think I'll even push back on that. It's not that people don't think of marriage and think of work, because whenever you get these older couples, when they're asked, oh, so what is your key to marriage, blah blah blah, they always say marriage is hard work.
Why do they say like
no listen,
it's
sister,
true actually,
marriage is hard work, so they do acknowledge that marriage is
work. But we won't call it what type of work it might be, because for the woman it's a different kind of work to the man. Exactly.
So it's not even that people don't see marriage as sex work. It's that in the ways that they see it, they acknowledge it as work, because it is hard. Everyone always says marriage is hard work. The work is still there. Marriage is hard emotional work. Marriage is hard physical work. Marriage is hard sex work. Marriage is hard financial work, because these are all types of these are all the kind of things that are needed to, that are expected. And so I think that's what it is. People do acknowledge that marriage is work. It's just they like to have it be ambiguous.
Yeah, and also, Shia, I think as well, when we think about the common scenarios that have broken down marriage, it's always to do with sex and money.
Yeah.
Like they say more than 50% of marriages end in divorce. And out of that percentage,
I think I even have the stats here actually.
It's
I did my
usually
research.
financial problems. But it's almost always also the woman has kids. Maybe she has the first child. She's not sexually interested anymore. She's now become so exhausted. She's seen her husband for what he fully truly is. She's not receiving any help. The sex has declined.
Yes, because the whole process of pregnancy, the changes that happens to the body when you're carrying a child, not just physical, the mental, emotional,
and the relationship
changes. And these relationships are being had with emotionally unintelligent, emotionally selfish and unavailable men who still see their partner, the woman, as for their physicality, for their bodies, and they don't see them as being more of an expansive person, a whole human being, as you were saying, that women aren't seen as whole humans because we're expected to stay fixed. The ideas and the ideas that they have of their partners, that men have of of women, is that you are always going to be the same person,
and you are always going to be sexually available.
So here it says, just to go back to the divorces, so in the UK, women initiate a majority of divorces. Specifically, statistics from the Office of National Statistics, ONS, show that in 2021, 63.1% of divorces in opposite sex couples were petitioned. According to the ONS, this trend has remained relatively consistent with similar percentages observed in previous years. Several factors contribute to this pattern: increased independence and financial autonomy
for the woman,
of course, higher expectations and emotional needs from the man. Expected when a change such as pregnancy happens, of course there's going to be more because another person is now being brought into this. Several factors contribute to this pattern: increased independence and financial autonomy. Women today have greater financial independence and career opportunities, making them less reliant on marriage for economic security, which is why women have always been historically pushed to marry and do everything, have children young, so that it's easier so that women are easier to control, because women are essentially like putting out the next batch of taxable workers in the workforce. Higher expectations and emotional needs, as well as obviously being easier to manipulate. Higher expectations and emotional needs. Women may enter marriage with higher expectations regarding emotional fulfillment and may be more likely to seek divorce when those needs are not met, according to Affinity Psychology Services. Unequal distribution of household labor, the emotional labor even. The emotional labor. How many times do we see the dynamic being that the woman is always the one who is organizing everything? When there's a holiday, it's the woman who is organizing this. Of course, not all, but the majority of the case. When there's children's
parents'
evening, like these things are evident, and so it's so maddening when people refute and just flat out deny the literal facts that are being discussed for them to keep in their delusion, to maintain their delusion.
Also as well, this whole thing of, this sex work and marriage thing, when we talk about part of why marriages break down and the man is complaining, well, she stopped having sex with me. It's like, oh, because that's what you married her for. But like when I say that, people don't want to listen to that. It's like people just want to cling on to their fantasy. So this is why, for me, I've made my peace with how I view marriage being sex work. I don't see sex work as this dirty stain. I have an understanding of sex work that comes from not just lived experience, but being around sex workers of vast types of sex work. So for me, I've always made it clear, and this is something that I spoke about in a speech I did at Oxford University, that I would only be marrying a man that's putting property, land and assets in my name. Like, babe, marrying the man who is the richest, the most devoted. Now, when I say these things, the knee-jerk question I get from people is like, but what about his character? People always assume that if I say that I want to marry a man who has money, then automatically
that's the only thing that you care about. And to hell with how terrible a person he is.
Yeah, that's what they think.
Do you have the money? Yeah.
Because of how they've been taught to view money.
It's reductive. It's
how they view money, though.
Yeah.
Because a lot of people have never seen a lot of money or been around people who have money. They only see the perception of people who have money from television. And if you notice, people who have money in television are oftentimes depicted as the evil asshole, as narcissists. Now, I'm not going to dispute that, like, there are a lot of rich narcissists, but there are also a lot of, like, rich people who are normal. Now, for me, it's like, if you think about all the things a woman lists that she wants in a partner, all the, like, nice things, sweet, caring, kind. Think about that list and add money on top. That's my list. Money for me is non-negotiable. I know that if I'm going to be in a man's life and I'm marrying him, I need this exchange needs to work for me. I need to collect.
Yeah. So what would you say to people who are even feminists as well? Because when I was preparing for this, for our conversation, for you to come on, I was reading, obviously, like your old tweets and criticisms that you were facing, etc., in your work. Yes. How would you respond to the people who will say that you're feeding into the idea of sexuality being something that is commodified to the highest bidder, the highest male bidder? How would you respond to people saying that your reductive, cynical takes on marriage and the dynamics of marriage and the relationship of marriage, between marriage and being sex work and it being sex work and it being symbiotic? How would you react to people saying that, you're being reductive, you're commodifying sexuality, etc.?
Sexuality is already commodified. I think for people to have the takeaway from everything I've said that all I'm doing is commodifying sex, then I guess they just don't want to accept how men view sex. I think that if you're someone who likes dating men, you need to study men and see them in the darkest light that they exist in, and also see them in the brightest light. You need to be aware of what you're getting yourself into. So
the full spectrum of
I am very exposed to a very wide spectrum of men. I have incredible men in my life. I've met lovely men. I know women who have great partners. I also have come across really terrible men. I have also seen how men speak about their wives. I used to work in a strip club. There's a strip club in Leicester Square called Platinum Lace. It's like a gentleman's club. So it's like, it's in central London, so it's like kind of more fancy. And the men will come in on a Tuesday, 5 p.m. to bitch about their wives. Meanwhile, their wife is still their screensaver. And they will pay to go to a champagne room. Some of them, they don't even care to do they don't even care to, like, watch you dance or to do anything sexual. I mean, not that you can't touch anyone in UK strip clubs. But sometimes they will pay for the champagne room in the hundreds to just vent about how unhappy they are about being married. And our job is to just be like, oh, that sounds really bad. Anyway, our hour's running up. Let's top that up, yeah? They pay you again. You just listen to them. Hey, Chai, hey, your wife sounds like she must be annoying. Chai, sorry, hey, yeah. And then when you're hearing all of that, and then you're also seeing the statistics about OnlyFans and how, like, what is it, over 95% of subscribers to women's OnlyFans are married men. And then you are hearing about the ways that married men feign incompetence, which is where they pretend to not know how to.
Weaponize incompetence,
Yeah, and then when I'm here talking about, like, how I view sex and why I think that men shouldn't have access to sex for free, and people are like, well, you're commodifying it. I'm like, well, men see sex as a commodity. They see women as a resource. They see women as a site to extract pleasure from. And when I say things like that, people find it really uncomfortable to see men in that way because they don't want to believe that. What they want to believe is that it's only the bad men that are doing that. But the problem is when we label men as good versus bad, we forget that there is also just like the benign. There's men who, just by being a bystander and not doing anything, and it could be argued that man quite literally didn't do anything, but that's the problem. He didn't do anything.
Binary way of seeing.
I just think
you know,
that
the good men, bad men. It's like, no, it's a sliding scale that is not to be just, that cannot be so easily categorized, because a good man might one day, I don't know, see a woman being assaulted and not do anything because he's scared for his own protection.
I mean, I've had that happen to me before. A guy who I thought passed the vibe check as a guy friend, I got into a heated debate with one of his guy friends, and this friend of mine was sat next to me watching the debate play out. We were both kind of holding our own, but then he started to get a little bit aggressive verbally. And so I turned to my guy friend and I said, hey, your friend is making me feel unsafe. Can you tell him to stop? I'm feeling uncomfortable. And he just sat there and didn't do anything. Yeah. And then the following day when I pulled him up on it, he said that he didn't want to make things worse. The reality is he didn't want to make things worse for himself. So this is what I mean by, that's someone that I considered what I would, if that situation hadn't happened,
I would have known.
Thought he's one of the, one of my good ones. Yeah. So again, where I'm going with this overall point and why I know that no matter how much I explain this, there will still be people who disagree, and that's fine. But people need to understand that men see women as a resource. Sex is a resource for men. Men will never love you as much as you love yourself.
And that's been evident. It's evident everywhere. Even when, like, cancer diagnosis, when a woman, when their wife is has been given a terminal diagnosis.
Oh, the men disappear.
They disappear. Nurses are quite literally trained. I have a healthcare background to prepare women for their partners leaving them in heteronormative relationships. They are trained, as in it happens so much that they cannot even pretend to ignore it, like a lot of people want to do when you talk about the things that you talk about. And I think it's a lot of the relationship ideations that people have, that women in particular have, stems from can sometimes stem from their mothers. This is me trying to segue into us talking about the parents and right. So a lot of women growing up weren't really exposed to the malevolence of men because their mothers weren't forthcoming, because of, again, the conspiracy of silence, the culture of conspiracy of silence within the home, etc., that is generational. When people talk about, when men in particular talk about, oh yeah, I saw my mom struggle. I saw my mom do this, do that, whilst my daddy wasn't there, whilst my dad was there. Why can't you as well? Why can't you do it?
What was your daddy doing when your mom was doing all of that? You saw.
They now want, did you see that Halle Berry?
Talking about
Halle
he had to
Berry.
leave her because she wasn't cooking and cleaning. She's the highest paid black actress at the time. Catwoman, you want Catwoman to stay at home and cook and clean, Abby?
And mind you, I don't even want us to reduce it to a class thing, because it's not just because of
her achievements.
It's not just a class thing, because even women who are working 3 jobs,
no woman should be at home cooking and cleaning.
Literally, even women who have who are working 3 jobs, whose partners can see how much they are having to do, are also in this position where their partner is expecting them to, on top of their 3 jobs, to do the cooking and the cleaning and all these other things, etc. So it's not a thing of Halle Berry she wasn't doing it because she shouldn't have to because she's a celebrity and because she's rich. No, a woman should not be expected, no matter their class standing, no matter in the caste system, etc., to work that much, that tirelessly, on top of all of the other things that is draining their energy. And again, it goes back to people not seeing women as full people, capable of tiredness, capable of saying no, capable of all these things that men are overly entitled to.
They saw their mums endure.
They saw their mums do it. And so I want to, before we get talking about your relationship with your mother, because you've been quite public about you excommunicating your mother out of your life, isn't that right? Mm-hmm. And you now being no contact with her. Before we go on to that, there was also what was I going to say again?
Try.
Hey, shit, I forgot. Hello and welcome to the first installment of You Said What? Today's guest, we have the unsuspecting Chidera, woo! AKA the Slumflower. We have just had her on the sofa discussing things such as feminism. What's the other one as well?
Sex.
Feminism. I said this is the first time, right? So there's going to be some errors. We have just been discussing topics such as feminism, sex work. What's that word? There's a particular word with parents.
Estrangement.
I'll be the one giving the thank you. You don't need to.
Sorry, ma.
Thank you.
Sorry, ma.
Feminism, sex work, estrangement from parents, and relationships. Can you please confirm that you have no idea what is going on?
I can hereby confirm that I have no idea what is going on here.
Thank you for your honesty. So, I will describe exactly what is going on. This is You Said What? This is a game show. Yes. How well are you with random information?
I don't have information, ma.
Well, we're about to find out. Make sure that you are getting involved in the comment section, okay? So, I am going to ask you 5 questions.
Yes, ma'am.
How many questions?
5 questions.
5 questions I will be asking the Slumflower today. So, they will be multiple choice. Some of them won't be multiple. I'm going to ask you questions. Some of the answers you will know. Some of them are personal to you. Some of them, not so. Some of them will test your general knowledge. Some of them will test... I'm just nosy, actually. Some of them I'm really just nosy. I would like to add that we have a buzzer in front of us. Can you please tap the buzzer to confirm that it is working? Let there be light. So, when I ask you the question, once you think you know the answer, I would like you to tap the buzzer. Tap the buzzer. Amazing. So, the first question, which of these is not a type of feminism? In A, intersectional feminism, B, choice feminism, C, white feminism, and D, beige feminism. Oh, we have an answer. Yes, Chidera.
D, beige is not a form of feminism.
Can we please confirm in the comments, is beige feminism a type of feminism or is it not? You are absolutely correct. Woo! Well done. You've got that. That is 1 out of 5. Well done. You are very smart, aren't you?
Yes, I am.
You're so smart. You're such a smart girl. You're so smart. Oh, you're so smart. I love you. You're so smart. Yes. Second question. In the first few pages of your book, can we please be handed the book? In the first few pages of your book, What a Time to Be Alone, there is an Igbo quote that reads, I am not Igbo. I do not speak Igbo. So please, give me some grace. Onyisi achayi ishi achara John. Or kwakara ishi John kwara. What is the translation in the book? Is it A, they who are asking for John's big head to shrink should look at the size of their head first? Is it B, he who is asking for the same haircut as John's, does he have the same shaped head as John? Please refrain from answering until we give all of the possible answers, please. It's really hot. I'm prone to fainting. Is it C, she who has insulted John's head for being large, it's right to do so because as a man, why do you have a large forehead? Or is it D, he who asks for the same haircut as John, does he even have the same head as John? Which answer are you locking in? A, B, C, or D, Chidera?
My answer is D.
Your answer is D?
He who is asking for the same haircut as John, does he have the same shaped head as John? Is that D?
That's not D. Ooh. Sister, you wrote it. How can you not know? That was a trick question, actually, because I made a slight adjustment.
I was nervous.
Yeah, it was B. It's he who is asking for the same haircut as John's. Does he have the same head shape as John? And then D is he who asks for the same haircut as John. Does he even have the same haircut? Do you see? Ooh, technicalities. Ooh, sister, it's okay. Ooh, sister, it's okay. Question 3. What does ULEZ stand for? Is it A, ultra low emission zone? B, useless London eating the people's money? C, ultra low idiot zone? Or D, using Londonistan's energy zebra? Go ahead.
C, ultra low idiot zone.
Ooh, you might as well be correct because honestly, why is that? Why is everything ULEZ? Why is everywhere ULEZ? Sadiq Khan, why are we extending ULEZ? What for? Mind you, I drive a diesel that just about missed the ULEZ exemption.
Yeah.
I'm so mad. Question 4. What is the square root of pi to the nearest 100th? Ooh, if you know the answer, put it down in the comments below. Is it A, 1.77, B, 69, or C, 2.2, or D, 180? Go ahead, you seem to have the answer, Chidera. What is it?
69.
Oh, you're just a naughty girl. You're a naughty girl. It's not 69.
So what's the answer,
The square root of pi to the nearest 100th is 1.77.
Oh, I thought it was 3.14.
Ooh, no, my sister. You are wrong, my sister. You are wrong, my sister. Okay, and the last and final question. How tall is the host? Who wrote this? Who wrote this? How tall is the... Okay, you know what? Because I'm a good sport and because I'm polite, I will entertain this question. Okay? How tall is the host? A, 6 foot. Yeah. Tell me otherwise. B, 5'1". C, African giant. Or D, height is just a number. She is petite.
5'1".
What did you say?
African giants.
Correct! The host is an African giant. Do not be fooled by numbers such as 5'1". That does not matter. I identify as an African giant. And anyone who tries to say otherwise, you're actually just a hater. So you can shut up, first of all. So, shut up. So, at the end of that round, Chidera, how many questions do you think you got right?
4.
Oh, I wish it was 4, my sister. I wish it was 4, my sister. You actually got 3 out of 5. Ooh, that's still good. And that is it for the first installment of What Did You Say? If you enjoyed the game, if you enjoyed playing along at home, make sure you leave us a comment in the comment section. Make sure you share. Make sure you are subscribed to Chidera on social media platforms. Give yourself a shout out. My Slumflower.
My Instagram is @theslumflower. And you can buy my book in any good bookstore. It's called What a Time to Be Alone. Mm-hmm. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Chidera, for participating in the game. Shia Says. Have you heard what Shia said? But when she's sitting out by herself, that's what Shia said. Yeah. It's been a great day. It's really hot. It's so hot. Shit. Let's be going, my sister. Thanks, bye. Anyways, let's talk about your mummy. So first of all, I think I want to thank you for being that vulnerable to talk about your relationship with your mother, especially as a Nigerian Igbo woman who is, who is very visible online, who is in front of the cameras, who gets an onslaught of negativity and just misplaced anger, because it's the situation that a lot of people face, and it's very nuanced, especially within African family dynamics. So can you talk, are you able to talk about what that process was like for you and how it is now for you?
Sure. I made the choice to cut my mum off in 2018 and still standing on that. And I think that for a lot of people who have mothers that put them in a position where they have to cut their mothers off, it's a very, very difficult decision to make. It's not an overnight decision. It's usually a decision that you start thinking about making from when you were a child. But obviously when you're a child, you don't have the means to leave.
Yeah.
So for me, the whole reason why I even have a career was because I wanted to escape my mum. What started out as me doing my cute little fashion blogs, because back in like 2015, 2014, before we had the influencer.
When Instagram was like Tumblr.
Yes.
Everyone just doing pictures.
Before influencers, the OGs were fashion bloggers.
Yeah.
I had a fashion blog. And so small, like the odd drop shipping shoe brand would send me a shoe. And I thought I was on. Like, I thought, yeah, man, like, shoes, don't ever me. What? I wasn't making any money. But it felt like I was on the path to becoming somebody somehow. And then maybe 3 years into me doing it, I landed an Adidas campaign, and it was a billboard campaign across London. And at the time, they paid me £25,000, and like I was like 22 or something, and that was 23. And that was huge money. Even now, in a recession, 25k is a lot, okay? But back in 2018, 25k, what? Once that money came into my account, I knew that, like, okay, this is going to be my escape money. I don't have the financial history to prove that I can be a trustworthy tenant. So unfortunately, I'm going to have to pay my rent 6 months up front. Because that's how it is in the UK. Like,
I did
you don't have a guarantor.
When I moved out the first time, moved into London, I paid like 6 months up front.
Yeah. So I paid my rent 6 months up front, signed the lease, and then that's when I told my mum that I'm moving out. Because I knew that
Once everything had been signed.
Yeah, because I knew that if I had told her, I'm gonna move out, I'm gonna, she would just make it near impossible for me to do so. Yeah, sabotage. Because when you have a parent that is extremely controlling and extremely selfish about wanting you to stay because they need to have that part of identity. Yeah, because I think for them it's an identity thing. And I think for a lot of people who I speak to about not talking to my mum, it's not that often I talk about it, but when I do, why I don't like talking about it to people is because a lot of people, they genuinely innocently have this outlook of,
oh yeah, but it's
it
your
could get
mum's
better.
first time.
Yeah, she's
living
just
as
a
well.
girl.
She's just a girl as well. She's a grown adult, first of all.
And now that I'm at the age of being someone's mum, I've seen that, like, choices are made, and it could be argued that choices come from trauma. But I've come from a traumatized person who exerted their trauma on me, but I've made the choice to not act out my trauma on people. So choices are being made. I'm not happy with the choices my mum made. I'm of the perspective that if you as an adult parent has an adult child who is not speaking to you, it is your fault.
Yeah.
I'm not going to even wait to hear the two sides, because for a child to go against the foundational structure of their biology
literally
and say, I do not want to be around my mom, she has done something wrong, she hasn't done her job as a mom. And that's a really hard thing to say. It's a really hard thing to hear, because motherhood is a hard thing to do.
Yeah.
There's no perfect way to get it right, but there are many ways to get it wrong.
Yes.
And you can get it wrong while thinking that you're doing it right. And I think that what people think they are calling, oh, she thought she was doing the right thing. I think that she was making choices that were to benefit her. And she thought that because I'm her child, I'm an extension of her. So I'm going to be around forever.
Yeah.
And I think as well, what makes this conversation tricky is off the back of me saying it's a hard thing to say that a mother didn't do a good job, because I'm not a mum myself. So it could be argued that, well, you don't know how hard it is. But my thing is, I think that if it was about us giving our parents like Yelp reviews, I wouldn't give my mom 5 stars. That's just my experience of your motherhood pushed me away from you. You didn't do your job properly. I went to fashion school. I used to sew clothes, from putting pattern pieces together to stitching them up into a garment. There were so many times in my process of learning how to sew clothes where I would spend 4 hours stitching this garment together, and I've finally gotten to close to the end of it, and it's now looking like an actual garment with
Something that
sleeves.
can be worn.
Right. And then I realized that a part of the garment has been sewn on the inside out part, but I spent 4 hours sewing that together. Doesn't matter how long I spent sewing it together, it's still not fit for use. It's incorrect. So I've got to go and unstitch that. Now, the metaphor here, and the reason I'm bringing up this example, is it could be argued that you spent all this time in your life being a mum and you thought you did the right thing. But just like how you sewed that particular portion of the garment inside out, therefore the garment is not fit for sale, it's the same way. You put all that time and effort into raising the child, but you've done this one thing wrong. You don't want to accept it, but the damage has been done. No one's going to come and give you a pat on the back for spending 4 hours sewing a garment, even though it's not fit for sale. In the same way,
It's not functional.
it's not functional.
Yeah.
In the same way, no one's going to come to you as a mom and be like, well, you know, your child doesn't want to speak to you anymore because you've obviously done something that's like close to irreparable damage. But anyway, you're still a mom, so we're going to still, like, you know. And that's why we live in a society where estranged adult children of parents are heavily judged, and there isn't enough accountability being put on parents. There isn't enough conversation being had with parents, especially of African descent, to say to them, you are in the wrong. No one is saying that. Everyone that they listen to are their fellow elders.
I be saying that.
Girl.
I be saying that. Like, I can really relate to what you're saying, especially as a Nigerian woman.
Yes.
Growing up in, I grew up in a two parent household. My parents are still together. Recently, not too long ago, I put out a video where I was demanding an apology from my parents, my mum and my dad.
Love that
about
video.
about an incident that happened over like 13 or so years ago now, that I had not gotten an apology
You were wrongly
about.
punished
I was
for...
wrongly punished.
Justice for 13-year-old
no,
you.
honestly, because it was like, and there were so many instances of that in my life where, you know, as a child, you were wronged and you were just kind of expected to just swallow it. You were just dismissed. Just dismissed. And that's something that compounds. When a child decides that, you know, they don't want a relationship with their parent anymore, it's often not for lack of effort. It's not for vibes. It's not for fun. It's not on an isolated
It's a horrible
incident.
decision to make.
It's a horrible, horrible decision to make. And so these things compound over time. And I think what happens a lot of the time within our community, etc., is the emotional blackmail and religiosity as well. They love running to this, oh, the Bible says respect your mother and father, blah, blah, blah. In the same
It also
thing,
says don't piss your children off.
No, it quite literally
says
says parents, do not do things that will bring your children to anger. But they don't quote that when they're trying to emotionally blackmail you. And so, like, having that situation with my parents and with my mum, my resentment towards my mum for that situation, you know, when I addressed it, was in the fact that even though I do not have a child, my sister is my child. My sister, like, I adore that girl so much. I want nothing but the best for her. I want even better for her than I have for myself. Like, I am so deeply and desperately in love with that girl, and I'm so protective over her. And that's as a sister. Mm-hmm. How can I rationalize a mother standing by and letting her child be wrongfully punished in a cruel way? Yeah. It was really cruel. I was made to hold a chair up. I came back home so happy. I will never forget that. Like, it's emotion memory. Like, I literally, like, whenever I think about it, I feel the same emotions all over again. And it's annoying because this was a situation that could have been so that
Your
should
mom
have never
should have
happened.
spoken up. She wanted that affinity. With
Yeah,
your
and I
dad.
think it's difficult because, you know, there is that sector of Nigerian women, of married women in general,
deferring to
who
their
are
husband.
who see the dynamics that should be presented as, you know, the mum and dad are on the same page, even if one of them
is in
are
the
wrong.
They'll go and discuss it
They
later.
don't want.
They won't
yes,
validate you in the present.
Yes, not
Damaging.
realizing that leaves space for
Don't
resentment
worry.
to grow and stuff. But don't. I grew
Me,
up and I
as it was
buzzed into
happening
that
to me,
room.
I was counting it for them. I was like,
No,
as you're
literally,
doing this
I'm
to
holding-
me,
I'm tallying
you're not
it.
seeing me again.
tallying it.
And that will be your punishment.
Tallying
Like,
it.
I'm never going to. There's a difference between saying what your parents did to you as that being the reason why you've chosen to remove yourself from their life, and then there's bad mouthing them. I still have respect for my mom. I'm not gonna like bad mouth her.
Yeah.
Like, every time I speak about not being on talking terms with my mom, I always speak about it like she might be listening.
Yeah.
And she definitely hates me talking about it because she feels embarrassed about it. It brings her shame. She wants people to see her as the perfect mom. And that's part of the problem. You're more
Concerned with the
preoccupied
image.
with the image
Yeah,
rather than
than
how
the
your child
actual
feels about you.
relationship.
And you
Yeah.
don't know your child. You're too busy telling your child who they are. You missed
Yeah.
out. Every time I meet people who are like of my mom's age and I tell them I don't speak to their mom, they're like, wow, she's missing out. Like, they're almost like, how did you manage to?
Yeah.
But it's like, it's actually very easy to ruin a relationship with your child.
Oh, it's very easy.
Just be Christian and be Nigerian.
No, honestly, like, we're laughing about it, but I think the role that religion plays in creating dynamics within familial structures that are less savory, to put it, you know, euphemistically, should not go without saying. We mentioned about the emotional blackmail of, the
God will
Bible
not be happy
says-
with you.
Yeah, God will not be happy with you. Raise a child in the way that you in the way, and they will not stray from the path. As if we don't have our own identities, our own sovereignty, our own our own personalities. Respect your mother and father. Obey them. Blah blah blah. All the while conveniently forgetting that literally the next line says, parents, do not do things to provoke your child. Don't provoke me to anger. Else you'll be in danger.
That was so great. Shia, why?
Every single intrusive thought I've had
Let it out.
wins. It wins. I don't even
Let
put up a
it
fight.
out.
I don't even put up a fight, my
Okay,
sister.
thank
I don't put up
you.
a fight. But I think like it's the role that that religion plays in the breakdown of a lot of relationships is can be attributed to the victim blaming element of a lot of religions. You know, it's always you don't have, as an atheist, you know, I'm an agnostic atheist.
Let them catch you.
I don't, honestly, it's like it's like,
I can hear UCKG flying over the Himalayas coming to get you, girl.
It's like, okay, well, you didn't seek out God. You don't have enough faith. You don't believe in God
Moral
because it's your faith.
failure.
It's because of me. It's not because of the lack of actual physical, definitive, objective evidence of your truth claims. I'm telling you, I don't believe that a woman came from a man's rib because of science.
Because I've
of
seen men
evidence,
come from a woman's
because
pussy,
I've
though.
No, literally.
Quite
But
physically.
I'm crazy because I'm a bit suspicious of a truth claim. Mind you, it's not a belief. I think the word belief is used euphemistically as a way to shroud over the fact that
cult.
it is a truth claim. If you're telling me to believe something, you're doing so because you
There's
are
proof,
proposing
right?
that it is true. It is evidence. And I'm telling you that no, it's not, or not enough for me. And you're telling me that I'm crazy. Like, this doesn't have to be a crazy discussion. We can just use some critical thinking and disengage our cognitive
What do you mean
dissonance.
critical thinking? You need a Bible.
Like, it's just, let's know.
That's how they say critical.
Honestly, it's
Would you
like,
look at this
it's
English?
it's faith. And I'm telling you that is not enough for me. I'm telling you that's not enough for me,
Me neither,
to
girl.
believe this thing, and then you're blaming my disbelief on my lack of faith. No.
And then your lack of faith comes from you possibly being a demon.
Oh, and a witch.
Genuinely, like they think
Because
that
sister girl that said that she had, we'll put up the tweet, that she hosted her first agnostic atheist,
and the Christians are piling on her,
are crucifying her, demonizing her.
Really weird. The most insecure religious group are Christians.
They're scared because people are meeting up
to talk about being agnostic.
And mind you, it's not even just talking about being agnostic. It's just a space where people feel like they found community. Is that not why you go to church? Because you found community. And then someone made a tweet basically saying that it's not that they don't understand the need or the desire for irreligious people to find community. It's that they don't think that those spaces should exist.
You do your Sky Daddy stuff and we'll do ours.
And it's like the vitriol, the venom, the hatred and the demonization that is thrown towards us as irreligious people. We're supposed to just stomach that. We're supposed to just take it. You're defaming us because we question.
Because you opted out of the cult.
Our belief.
It's about opting out of the cult, and there are punishments for choosing to see beyond the cult.
Like, if you want to have your belief, have your belief. All we are saying is don't project it onto us. Don't project it onto people who are not in the same belief.
Of brainwashing.
Like, let's be normal. Let's be normal.
They're not normal,
you know.
not
and so I think the relationship module that a lot of religious parents, especially African religious African parents, base their relationship dynamic with their children on is the same malevolent, sinister, oppressive one as are in the Bible. As are in the Bible, Abraham being asked to sacrifice his child, and then God saying, just kidding. Huh? If that were, and then they say, oh yeah, but you have to understand that context. Back in the day, there was no time period in which a father or a parent being ready to kill their child as a sacrifice is normal, because they can look at other practices, they can look at other cultures, other spiritual belief systems, like the Mayans, for example, all of the human sacrifices that they did, and they can see it as barbaric. They can see it as, oh, it's terrible, but you, in your religion of blood sacrifice and sacrificing children, you see it as righteous, you see it as moral, you see it as a test of faith, you see it as something to applaud. No.
This is the same way that mothers who do what I would consider a terrible job still believe that they should be unconditionally forgiven. And that's why for me, it's like
there's a never-ending well of grace that they should be extended.
Yeah, because it's like, my mum did her best, but there was things...
But your best was not
unfortunately, it wasn't enough, and you did damage, and you know what, you could have made different decisions, but you thought I was going to stay forever, and now that I've left, you're now feeling the void.
The weight of
But that's for you to sit with. You're going to have to sit with that. In this life, this is the lesson that God has decided that you're going to have to learn. You will lose access to your firstborn daughter, and that's not a nice thing to sit with, but I'm not going to relieve you of that discomfort.
As much as I love as much as I love my mum, etc., it's like, I love myself more.
Yeah, same.
Like,
I love my mum, but she should just stay where she is. Don't come near me ever again.
If it ever gets to a point where, I decide that I want to excommunicate my parents or parent from my life, it is not a decision. No, I hope it never gets to that. But unfortunately, me and my parents, we have a good relationship, because
you have to put your foot down.
I put my foot down, and they know me. They know.
Yeah.
Do not.
That's like me and my dad.
Amazing relationship. Put my foot down, because I will set the boundary. I will let you know, because you can't treat me like a child anymore.
And they know that you can walk out.
Yeah, I can walk out.
They've seen it.
No,
you have to show them.
You have to show them, and I think it's just about entitling yourself to your adulthood. Entitle yourself to the fact that you are that you are self-governing, that you can make these decisions, and you can, even if it's uncomfortable to have people sit in the consequences of their actions, don't alleviate them from it.
Yeah.
Don't alleviate from it. If when I had the conversation with my dad and made him, I got my apology, etc. Another situation happened, and I didn't talk to him for about a month and a half. We're in the same house. I didn't even greet him. I didn't even greet him.
You're sounding on business.
It's very
in
much
the same
like
house.
if I don't, it's because I wanted to hurt him with my silence in the same way that his words hurt me. If you can use your words to hurt me, I will use my silence to hurt you. Yeah. And so I was just...
So how did the silence get broken?
He apologized. Yeah, I got my apology.
You know, culturally, this is like finding...
a unicorn.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like, it wasn't an easy apology,
You're probably the first in your generation to ever get an apology from your parents.
It wasn't an easy apology, and it took him 2 attempts. The first time, my mum and brother called me downstairs to have the conversation with him, and they asked, "Oh, so what's going on?" I'm just like, "You know what happened? Why? I'm not going to tell you what happened. Like, I'm not going to tell you what happened. You know what happened. You like blah blah blah." And my dad's reaction to it, he wasn't very receptive. He was the energy was still... He was defensive.
That's not going to work.
He started raising a voice. I got up and I left.
Period. You're
got up
exemplar.
And I left. I am in control of everything.
So
in my orbit.
Second attempt,
that was maybe like over a week after the first attempt, when he, I got up and whatever. Yeah. And then he was a lot calmer. Mm-hmm. He opened with, "I want to hear you out. Talk about, let's talk about what happened. Blah, blah, blah." He was still using his, Yoruba proverbs to, to feign
buffer.
Wisdom, buffer, etc. And he said what he needed to say. And I even have it on voice. I even have it recorded. My sister, I have it recorded on voice note. I have it recorded on voice note. Every single thing that I could remember. I said, "I didn't want to talk to you because of this. When I was younger, when I was 13, when I was 16, when I was 40, when I was 17, when I was 19, when I was did, I've seen you do this. I didn't like this. Don't ever do this again. Don't think it's acceptable. Blah, 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 blah. This is how I felt. I don't care what you say. Blah, blah." I just said, because at that point...
I'm so proud of you.
Thank you. I'm very proud of myself as well. But like, I saw it as, what the hell else was I going to do?
You were supposed to take it lying down, Shia, remember?
I'd rather die.
And
Over my dead body. I think I'm in, and it's in no small part to women like yourself who are vocal and who share their experiences about the struggles in family dynamics and relationship with people, your caregivers, etc. Mm-hmm. Sharing that you did something so bold and so courageous and so unorthodox and so almost very much unheard of within our cultures. I was like, no, this sounds like a vibe. I was quite literally ready to never talk to my dad again, even if we're in the same house.
And that's when the change happened. So with my dad, I actually cut my dad off. The same time I cut my mum off, I cut my dad off. And my dad's one that lasted 5 years. And then like 2+ years ago, he started to lose stamina and just really wanted to hear from me. And I say lose stamina because it's almost like when you cut your parents off, they kind of just like leave the silence there, especially with men. Like they just become avoidant. They just leave it. Yeah. And he started to feel like, you know what, this is just, I want to talk to my daughter. Yeah. So he started going through his sisters, who are my aunties. And I was like, no, he doesn't deserve it. He has to write me a letter.
No, literally, if you
name
want to talk to me direct. Don't go through the corner.
Don't try and request that we do a mediation meeting.
Yeah,
you don't get
they
to
love a
see
mediation
me.
because it's another
have the
form
buffer.
Of emotional blackmail.
Yeah, so I said, I want him to write me a letter naming his behaviors, naming what he is specifically sorry for, and explaining to me how he thinks that would have impacted me and why he wants a relationship with me. And
did he?
I waited like 6-ish months and he wrote the letter. And then
sometimes it's literally just it's like
you have to name your demand.
A staring contest.
Yes, it was that. And so when I opened the letter, from the first line, I was like, yeah, he's sorry. I knew that he was sorry, read the whole letter, and I heard what I wanted to hear from him. I could tell. Because sometimes if you do the whole mediation thing, they want you to do all the labor of explaining what... it's like, no, actually, I want to hear from you. What do you think went wrong? Tell me where you went wrong as a parent. So he told me where he went wrong. We met up, we went for a walk, and I told him exactly everything that upset me and disappointed me, about how I never used to hear him tell me that he loved me. And now we have the kind of relationship where he says, I love you first. It's almost like I have the dad I was meant to have when I was younger. But because he knows that I am capable of cutting him off, it's almost like he feels like he's gotten a second chance at life. Sometimes it almost feels like our relationship is a dream. Yeah, like I can tell that he loves me. I can tell he learned his lesson. I can tell that he now sees me as an adult. Like he treats me as an adult. But I still give my dad his respect by, obviously I greet, like I'm never going to, just because I cut you off for 5 years and I had the power, I'm going to talk to you anyhow. That's my dad and I respect him. I go to him for advice. I talk to him about pretty much everything. I have a very liberal Nigerian dad. But it's just that the reason why I cut him off is because he was an accomplice. When my mum was doing the abusing, he was he was just the bystander. And that's a bystandering. It's betrayal.
It's betrayal. It's betrayal.
Yeah. And I was like, you should have protected me. You should have advocated for me. He explained to me all the reasons why he couldn't, because usually when there's an abusive parent, the abusive parent is also abusive to their partner. And women can be abusive too.
Yes, 100%.
And women can use emotional force to put the father in a position where he doesn't have as much ability to advocate for the children and get involved. And that was what happened in my household. So once I was able to get out that, and now that I have an amazing relationship with my dad, it's almost like the fact that I have this amazing relationship with my dad and the fact that I have great men in my life is the more reason why I'm disappointed in men as a concept, because it's a choice for these men in my life who are good to me to be like that. So it's a choice for everyone else to act mad. And that's why I feel like whether we're talking about men, whether we're talking about parents, women owe it to ourselves to stand on business when it's uncomfortable. Like the women I respect the most are women who have done what you've done with your parents, like where you've had to genuinely put your foot down. Like what you've done is culturally abnormal and it deserves praise. And I'm not saying it deserves praise as in I'm encouraging young people to disrespect their parents, because someone in the comments will say that. Someone in the comments is definitely going to be like,
they'll be
this
so,
is wayward.
Like
because they are the parents that their kids are going to soon cut them off. And this is why, when I talk about this, I always try to leave a message for parents who might be listening. If you have adult children, I'm telling you now, if you are creating an environment in the household where you are leading as a dictator and you're clipping your child's wings, you're controlling when they come in and out of the house and they're 18 plus, you are forcing them to not involve themselves in their social life, just know that they're counting it for you. And once they start to make their small money, they're going to leave you and they're never going to return. And the reason why they're going to feel more confident in that decision to never speak to you again is because they have influences like myself and Shia and other people who are now speaking up more about cutting their parents off. We're not in those times anymore, like the 80s and the 90s. Where people kept quiet and no one had access to information about this. So I would just say, you still have time, if your kid lives with you, to transform your relationship, but you will have to have an ego death. Most African parents, unfortunately, are not prepared to have an ego death. So just be prepared to have a death between the relationship of you and your child. And there's always a price you pay for exerting that level of control over your adult child and thinking they're going to stay around forever. No, they're not going to stay around to look after you. If you get old, they're going to put you in a home. But if they're nice enough, they'll put you in a nice home. Not staying in my house with me and my husband if I get married. Go and find somewhere to go and stay.
Literally. And I think that's just it. I think the ego death and the egomaniacal ways that a lot of parents conduct and create such toxic environments where their children don't even feel like they can express when they've been hurt.
They pay the price later. I'm telling you.
People being shut down. Like it happens. A lot of people grow up constantly getting shut down emotionally and invalidated by their parents. I'm coming and I'm telling you that what you did really upset me because I want the relationship between us to be better so that it doesn't happen again. And instead of seeing that as what it is, as an attempt for us to get closer and for the bond to strengthen, you're seeing it as an opportunity for you to push down further, push your foot down on my neck even further and create an environment where now I'm completely certain that you do not, it's not safe for me to even desire that.
And so why
would I want to even want a relationship with someone like that? Do you know what I mean? It's like it can be difficult, but I think sometimes it's just about setting boundaries. And this is, it was one of the, I think it was what I spoke about in the first episode of my show, talking about, you know, like setting boundaries, and no one is above blocking, and not allowing anyone to overestimate your desire to have them in your life if they think they can get away with treating you like you don't deserve, in a way that you do not deserve, you know? And so, yeah, I think, thank you so much for sharing that. I know it's not an easy thing to talk about. It's unfortunately a taboo topic within our communities in general. But the more we have these conversations, the less of a taboo it becomes, especially as a woman as visible as you are and as vocal as you are. And that's my spec. I was even saying to Kelechi, I love a disagreeable woman. I love a woman who does not care about how she's going to be perceived, about not being, you know, about the lack of grace that she's going to be given, because she's being true to herself, especially when you're right, when it's righteous. When it's righteous, when you know that you're not happy with the way your mother is treating you, and so you made it's a difficult decision.
Painful,
it's not easy.
Lonely.
Difficult decision.
Difficult.
You know?
And often shameful, because other people make you feel shame for it.
Exactly. And so I think it's just very important, if you're watching this, do not internalize it. This is going to be
it's their shame to carry for being a bad
Literally,
parent.
I say this all the time. It's their shame. When that stupid, what's his name, Joshua, Okpe's husband, that was talking about, oh, I forgot my wife's birthday 3 years in a row.
He even opened his mouth to tell us,
his disgusting,
unprovoked.
dirty, filth. Pastor, mind you, with the most disgusting history of tweets. And then in another video, we're now finding out that he basically forced himself on his wife 2 weeks
Marital rape.
2 weeks postpartum. She said that she didn't want, that she, you know, like it was really painful. She didn't enjoy it. She was crying.
And he still
did it. Mind you, this was video interview. He spoke about this. It was like,
was the wife there?
I now know that, you know, the wife was there. She's the one that, and then we go back to his when you're in an abusive dynamic, you don't recognize your abuse as abuse in a lot of time. You see it as duty. People hide abuse under the cloak of duty.
And he was in a bad mood.
Mind you, it's come out that he was a sex addict. He was sex addict.
Why is it that pastors are always sex addicts?
Don't mind them. And mind you, they are extended grace that sex workers
are never extended.
Mind you,
sex
the
workers aren't even sex addicts.
People, yeah, they're not even sex addicts.
People.
And it's all disgusting. It's all, you know, that is the world. But the more clued up you are about the world, the more women like yourself, Chidera, speak about your situations and your disagreeability, and just how much and still being able to live your life comfortably, and still being able to find an audience of people and find a community of people who will support you through that is amazing. I think the more people see that, the more they see things are possible. I think a lot of people are limited by their imagination. And so when women like you speak about your experiences and how you've overcome them and how you're still thriving, how you're still doing well. Sister Girl had 3 sold out shows, 400 people. She's doing fine. She's doing fine. I think a lot of people need to expand their understanding, and instead of seeing and projecting their reductionist mentality on you and saying that, you know, you're being reductive about how you view marriage and your statement proposition of marriage and sex work being more linked than people like to admit. They need to do the internal work of understanding why it is they react so viscerally to something that is there.
And also because if they take marriage off the pedestal, they don't have anything to replace on that pedestal.
Yeah.
When they don't realize what they should put on that pedestal as themselves. But that's way too scary of a task.
Too scary, yeah.
And I think for a lot of people, my work, you have to think to engage with my work.
Yeah.
I think a lot of straight women, they don't enjoy thinking. It's that whole thing of like, I want to be with a man who leads, so I can switch my brain off when I'm with him.
He'll be the head, I'll be
Lead
the
you
neck.
to where? Do you not have city
that.
mapper? But what I want to understand as well is like, what do you mean you want to switch your brain off? It's a man, girl. Have you not heard what men are doing? Like, you trust a man, girl. Rule number one. Rule number one.
And I hate the, he made me like pink again. He
Oh, yeah, he
makes
brought
me
my
more
pink
feminine.
back.
Oh, he allows me to be more feminine. I'm more feminine around him, baby. That's not what that is.
What is it?
That's not what that. It's not by virtue of him being a man that you're more. It's just because it's a performance, babe. It's a performance. You're performing femininity, babe. We could talk about these topics non-stop for 5 hours. We were even joking in the DMs about how this was going to be a 5-hour long episode. I want to give you your flowers. Sunflower. You're so right.
Sunflowers for the Slumflower.
This is just ceremonial. I gave her this the minute she walked in.
Girl, why are you revealing that?
No,
Sorry, I'm trying to act my
We're
ass
trying
off
to be
here.
real.
I'm giving you guys Nollywood.
Okay, cool. All right,
Flower.
cool.
Okay, let's do it again. Yeah, take
okay,
three.
you've never seen it. And so because of that, I want to give the Slumflower her sunflowers.
Flower for me.
It's for you, honey. These are your flowers. I want to give you your flowers.
Just want to say thank you so much for these flowers. Sarcasm aside.
No.
I'm not keen to just be going on podcasts anyhow.
Yeah.
I wouldn't just go on anyone's podcast. A lot of people invite me to their podcast because they want me to debate them. I would only debate who I consider my intellectual equal, which is why I say no to a lot of podcasts. But I also would only go on a podcast of someone who I respect, admire, and think is doing something that other people aren't necessarily doing. And that's what Shia is doing with this podcast. So thank you for giving me my flowers. I appreciate it. A lot of bitches be hating. A lot of them, they could never have the audacity, confidence, or self-belief I have.
The tenacity.
I hope that maybe one day you change your perspective and you too start to believe that you're deserving of more, and you get rid of that man and you go live your life for yourself, and you find someone who's going to invest in you and give you the easiest, breeziest experience of being with a man.
And even if you don't find
and even if
him,
you don't, your life is
do it
popping
yourself.
regardless.
Invest in yourself, baby.
Period. Always be investing in yourself.
Honey.
Use that man's bricks to build your own empire. And if you don't find that man's bricks, then you know you can find your own bricklayer. But yeah. With that, thank you for these flowers.
You're so welcome. You have been listening to another episode of Sayo Says. Have you heard what? Oh my goodness, no. So usually when I have a guest, look at you, you're so fake. When I have a guest, I like them to leave on a note and say, like, what does, I usually say, oh, Sayo says blah, blah, blah. And then it's like a takeaway from the, yeah, okay, cool. So what does the Slumflower say? Give them a message.
The Slumflower says, know your worth and act on it.
And that's on what, baby?
Period.
Period. Okay, you can...
Let's be
Bye.
going. It's just enough. Cut the cameras.
Cut the cameras.